Welcome to the last show you'll ever hear. You seen that movie, The Ring?
Yeah.
Surprise, bitch. You're listening to it.
Hell yeah. Podcast version of The Ring.
Tech support. Tech support. Tech support. What is tech support?
Ooh.
It's support. It's support for your technology. It's an technological supporter. Tech support. We call tech support when we are lost, when we don't know what to do, when our phones won't work, when our televisions won't work.
Please guide me.
And we hate ourselves, so we decide to call that number and subject ourselves to the torture.
The endless robot
The
phone
awfulness.
menus.
We've all called tech support, and we all hate tech support. Tech support is designed to waste your life, to waste your time, and to make it as hard as possible to solve your problem. But to be fair, I think it's hell for the people who are doing the tech support as well.
Probably.
Because they have to put up with 85-year-olds who don't know how remote control works.
Oh, yeah.
Or don't realize that you have to plug a speaker in to the unit to actually create sound. Or they don't realize that when you turn your laptop in to be worked on, make sure there's not pornography on the desktop or whatever.
Hey, I used to work at a Radio Shack. I remember some of this stuff.
Let's hear one.
There's this like redneck couple used to come in all the time. We used to sell these like used Dell laptops. Not used, but like refurbished from Dell. They were pretty inexpensive just if you need a laptop.
Okay.
And they bought one, I think against our advice. I think we were like, you probably don't need one. Don't worry about it.
They bought one from Dale?
Us.
From you.
Us.
And you were trying to tell them not to buy it?
Well, sometimes you can just tell people are going to have a problem with. There's also another time with an old man who bought a smartphone that he really didn't need.
Sir, this is way too much phone for you.
Yeah.
Sir, let me give you this other phone that's so big it won't fit in your pocket, and the numbers are gigantic, and it narrates every action to you.
You know, it's a smartphone, typical touchscreen. And he was like holding it with one hand and backhanding it with the other, trying to like get it to do something. Anyway, so these guys buy the laptop from us, the Dell refurbished laptop. And of course, we get a call like a week later or whatever. The guy is just screaming over the phone. This thing won't do nothing but type for capital letters. And my coworker's like,
nothing but capital letters.
He's like, look, calm down, buddy.
Sir, have you
Looked on the left-hand side of the keyboard. You see that button that says caps? Yeah? All right, press that. Okay, now type something. He's like, okay, I got it.
See you later.
Yep.
Sir, you need a Fisher-Price. We have a Fisher-Price laptop that would be perfect for you. God, is there anything worse than robot menus? These are so awful, especially when you call. You know when you call a store and you just want to talk to a human?
Yep.
And you know there's going to be an option that says press 9 to talk to a human being. But before they let you get to that option, they're going to say, hello, thank you for calling, blah, blah, blah. We're so glad to speak to you. Your call is important to us. We value you as a customer. Listen to all options as options may have changed. By the way, our hours of operation are, and they're saying all this slowly, Monday, 8 o'clock to 5 o'clock, Tuesday, blah, blah. God, please, go, please go. Finally, here are our options. And then they'll tell you 8 things you don't need. They give you the most useless ones first.
Yeah, of course.
They don't want you hitting the one to talk to a person. So they'll say every department, everything they could possibly say, and at the very end, and if you need to speak to a human, go beep yourself.
Yeah.
Click. And then you hear that bad music in the background.
Yep.
And you wait, and you wait, and you wait. Sometimes you're waiting for 20 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour.
Yeah.
Depending on what it is.
I've been there.
And how badly you need to get it fixed.
Yeah.
And you finally get somebody on the phone. Sir, have you turned off and turned back on the machine? Is the power Is it plugged into the wall? Do you see is the power indicator light on? I understand why they have to ask those questions.
Oh, yeah. No, I get it.
Sometimes, though, I've even told the guy, listen, just to let you know up front, all that stuff you're going to ask me to do, I've already done all that stuff.
Yeah.
The phone systems are awful, and the worst is when they're outsourced to a country with thick accents.
Yeah.
I don't mind speaking to a gentleman or a lady with a thick accent, but the problem is I can barely hear what a normal person says on the phone.
Yeah, it makes it a little hard.
My hearing stinks, and phones don't help because it's all compressed and it's garbledy and blah, blah, blah.
Yep.
It sounds bad anyway. And then you take someone with a very thick accent. It's very difficult. It's a whole lot of what?
Yeah.
You hate to just continue to say the same thing over and again, over and over again, which is, could you repeat that?
Yep.
You wish the person would get you. This never happens, but you wish the person would have the customer service savvy to slow down.
Yeah.
Speak slowly, so that I don't have to ask you what. What was that?
Yeah.
What did you say? Can you repeat that? I didn't catch that. Can you say it again? You go through everything, and then the problem is still not fixed.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, well, this is a weird one, isn't it? Yeah, it is. Let me bump you up to the next level or something.
That's tough, buddy. Just Google it.
Woo, yeah. Into my shift. Wait. Oh, what? Something's wrong with the connection. I can't hear you. I've learned that when it comes to tech support or support of any kind, here's your life hack. Welcome to Life Hack. Your life hack for the day.
All right.
Always use live chat. Go to their website. Yeah. Don't call an 800 number. Don't do it. And don't send email if you can help it.
Yeah.
But email is better than the phone if you can wait. But the best option is always live chat. It's fast, it's quick, and it's so easy. Yeah. Go to the website, look for the little thing at the bottom, the little icon that says click here to chat with a human being or ask for help or something. That is the way that you solve your problems. Forget the phone, forget the email, forget it. It's all terrible. What's funny is if you have any amount of computer knowledge and you're around other people who don't, sometimes you will be called upon to perform tech support for other people.
Yep.
So they'll say to you something like, you know what, my computer is not running well. Do you think you could take a look at it?
Yeah.
And this has happened to me many times over the years. Every time I do the same thing. I Google it. I talk to people I know who work on computers for a living.
Yep.
And I try to find out what could I reasonably do to fix this person's computer. Other than pray or try to cast a spell on it or something like that. What can I practically do to help these computers? It's always the same thing. You always read, defragment the hard drive.
Yep.
It's always clear out malware and bloatware. So uninstall any programs that you don't need. Get rid of any malware using a cleaning utility or whatever.
I just have like SSDs now. I don't have to defragment anything.
Do you not have to defragment an SSD? This is why I should never be performing tech support. I didn't know that.
You're actually not supposed to defragment SSDs.
I am so glad that
it's actually
that's
bad
true.
for it. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm so glad those days are over because you would open the defragmenter.
Yep.
And it looked like Egyptian hieroglyphics. Made no sense. It's all these colored squares and this number that's just cycling endlessly. And it's like, oh, this will be finished in 8 hours and 24 minutes.
Yeah.
It always takes forever. And even if you do it, you can't tell the difference.
I mean, look, tech people, correct me if I'm wrong.
Somebody is like, oh, you freaking idiot.
It probably
You're doing
does
it
affect the
wrong.
speed, but I think it's probably more for like the health of the motor.
Yeah.
Because like it's not physically having to like go all the way across the hard drive all the time. You're kind of reorganizing the actual files on the disk, so they're like,
oh man, you're turning me on with his tech talk. Listen to
there you go.
Look, you how to speed up your computer. I'm going to Google it. It all says the same stuff. 7 ways to improve your computer performance from HP. Uninstall unnecessary
don't buy
software.
an HP computer. One thing.
Limit the I forgot about that one. Limit programs at startup.
Yeah.
So you're supposed to go through your list, your startup processes, and like, oh, I don't want you to start Discord or Steam or Skype when you boot. Check for spyware and viruses, okay? Use disk cleanup and defragmentation, okay? Take a look at your web browser. Uninstall any...
Yeah.
First of all, the person who's asking you to speed up their computer does not have extensions installed on their browser.
Yep.
They don't.
If someone's asking you to speed up their computer, they probably also have like an HP computer that came with a bunch of shit.
The answer... Fresh, clean, install, and get rid of all the bloatware.
Yeah.
When I bought my last computer, the first thing I did was clean, install. So I had nothing I didn't want on it. The answer to my computer sucks is buy a new computer. It's also learn how to not click on things in emails. Don't go to sketchy sites and click on things you shouldn't be clicking on. Don't go to... Listen, if you got to go watch porn, pick one site that you enjoy that seems relatively safe and just go to that one every time.
Use the big ones. Don't go to the sketchy small ones.
Yeah, don't go to 20 different porn. Don't pick a different porn site every time.
Yeah.
Pretty much. You just pick one. That way, if you're going to get some malware from that porn site, at least you'll only get that malware.
Look,
you won't get the malware you'd get from 35 porn sites.
Look, I honest to God, I could not tell you the last time I had a virus or anything like that on my computer.
The viruses might be good. Maybe I've got them. I don't know I've got them.
Yeah.
But as far as I know, I don't got them.
Yeah, I haven't had anything in God knows how long.
Yeah. Anytime you get an email that says you have it looks like, from paypal.com, spelled PAYYPAL.COMM. It looks like you have a $549 charge. If you would like to dispute that, click on this link. Don't click on it.
And it's crazy. You think that stuff like wouldn't work. Some of these like obvious seeming scams, but they apparently do because they still do them.
Oh, it works.
Oh, yeah.
If you want, hey, here's some free life hack. Number 2. If you want to clean up, if you want your computer to run faster, either do a fresh install, buy some more RAM, or throw that bitch in the trash and buy a new computer. You and I were talking about how we never update our stuff.
Yep.
Because it's never convenient to update your stuff.
Yeah.
Anytime I open something, I'm using it.
Yeah.
So, for instance, I have a piece of software that keeps track of all my passwords. By the way, one of the greatest things you could ever get. Because before that, you're writing it down on a little piece of paper, you got a little notebook, and you're writing all your passwords down.
Yeah.
F that. Just get KeyPass or something like that. And don't forget the KeyPass password.
This guy is out of $225 million because he can't remember his password.
I tried a couple different passwords, but none of them worked.
That's true.
Write that one down. Write it down 3 times and stick it in 3 different places so you do not lose it, which is what I did.
Yeah.
But get yourself KeyPass or something like that, and then just keep all your passwords in one place on your computer. You remember one password, and you're good. But anyway, every time I open that program, for instance, that's a good example, it always says, would you like to update to the newest? It's like, I don't want to do that right now. I'm busy. I just want my password so I can do what I'm doing. Maybe I'll update you later, but I never come back later and update the program.
And the real thing for updating for me is just that like updating things breaks things all the time for me.
Yes.
Especially like, for audio work, I use a Mac, which is a lot more stable for me on the whole. But at the same time, sometimes when you update things, they have like really hard like cutoffs for like versions of like software you can use. So sometimes if you update the Mac OS whatever, your old thing just won't work, and you'll have to update that too, which can sometimes even cost money and stuff like that.
Right. Well, a few years ago, I bought a tablet.
Yeah.
A pretty crappy Google tablet, but it was fine when I first got it.
Yeah.
And the first thing it wanted to do, well, very soon after I got it, was it wanted to update the operating system.
Yep.
So the thing worked okay, and then I got the new operating version, and then it ran like crap. And maybe it was just because it was just too much for my poor little tablet. The tablet was weak anyway.
Yeah.
And so maybe the new operating system was too much. So after that experience, I don't want to update anything because in my mind, every time you update, it's going to require more system resources.
Yeah.
And I don't want to phase out my phone or whatever.
Yeah, that's especially been my experience with like phones. I've never had a tablet.
My phone has been trying to get me to update since the day I bought it.
I'm still running
it. Keeps a daily tally.
Yeah.
Now, it doesn't tell me every day, but it'll pop up every once in a while and say, it's been 247 days. since your last system update. And I just get rid of that, and I keep using my phone.
I just keep hitting remind me tomorrow.
Yeah, remind me never. Nowadays, I'm used to everything updating itself.
Yeah.
But every once in a while, you've got something, and you realize after years, this thing is the same as when I bought it. Why is it not updating? Oh,
Yeah.
they want you to manually update. What is this caveman technology?
Yeah.
I use Clip Studio to paint for digital painting. And I realized like 2 weeks ago that the system is never updated. And I looked into it like, why is it? Do I have to buy a new license or something? It's like, oh, you just have to manually download the update and install it. It's like, what is this? This is bizarre.
I don't know. Some dude.
Everything's supposed to update itself. I want to take you through some of these Reddit tech support.
Oh yeah, there you go. I'm ready.
Stories. I love this. What is your best tech support story? These are so good. This one says, one summer this guy came into the local Comp USA where I was working to have his laptop fixed. He pulled out the case and sat it on the counter. The thing was covered in dirt and these little black spots. We asked him what had happened and he told us the story. He said, well, I spilled a Coke on my keyboard.
Yep.
And I thought if I took a hairdryer and blew out the wet keyboard, the Coke would evaporate.
Yeah.
Okay, makes sense. As you can see, it didn't. It left this sticky residue all over everything. So I was trying to figure out how to get all the sticky syrup off the keyboard.
Yeah.
So his solution was to get the sugary syrup out of the keyboard was to take his laptop outside and set it on an ant bed.
Yes. Oh man, that's awesome.
His rationale
that
was
rules.
that the ants would crawl into the keyboard and start harvesting the sugar syrup to carry back to their hive. Instead, all they did was crawl inside, got stuck in the syrup, and died. A gal called upset that the tech wouldn't come back out and set up her internet cable. So I called the field tech who said next to her computer, behind a sheet, was a wild bobcat. He heard it growling and slamming on the cage. The sheet fell off and the bobcat was trying desperately to claw the piss out of the tech. So we called the authorities. She called me back later pissed that we called the police. They found her, had the animal removed, and wanted us to pay her fine. She wanted them to pay her fine.
Sure thing, buddy. I'll tell you one story I was relayed
hear it.
from my time at Radio Shack.
Let's hear it.
Was they had some guy bring in a DVD player, you know, like a portable DVD player, that wasn't working for some reason, and had him take a look at it. So my coworker took it, and it was already like kind of gross. It had this like feeling, like it's kind of like gray stuff on it. It looked dirty and nasty. He was like, "Okay, what's wrong with it?" He's trying to look at it, figure it out. He opens it up, and there's like a porn DVD in it, and he realizes it's just like covered in.
He said, I have a few stories, but by far the best. This one is my best by far is one my Cisco instructor told me. He fixes home PCs on the side. Most of what he does is clean up, virus, malware removal, stuff like that. He cleaned up a regular customer's new PC, which was full of malware. And he said it took him a few hours and several runs using different programs. He told the guy afterwards that the problem was he had no antivirus, and he needed to make sure he bought some so his computer didn't end up like this again. 2 or 3 months later, the same customer calls back and tells him that his computer's running really slowly again. He thinks it's been reinfected. So again, he mentions the antivirus to the customer, who insists he already bought it.
Yeah.
Later, he goes over there to clean the PC, and while he's in there, he can't find any antivirus program. So he says to the customer, I thought you bought an antivirus for your computer. And the customer responds by picking up the McAfee box, still in its box, and placing it next to the computer. The customer was convinced that sitting there, it would protect the computer.
Yes. Oh,
and my instructor used this to point out that one should never underestimate the level of human stupidity.
Oh yeah, if you just don't know anything about it, I don't know. It's amazing.
Even that though, it's like if you don't know, you got to do something with it, right? It's not
I
magic.
think so. I don't know.
Something doesn't just travel through the air from the box into your computer. It's not osmosis. It's not magic.
Hey, I don't
it's
get
not,
it, but it's
Magic missile.
There's not waves being like transmitted from the unopened McAfee box to protect your computer. That's insane. All right, here's how we're going to end it. Tell me if you may have seen this because I think it's kind of a classic, but I had forgotten this existed. And I was looking up stuff for the show, and then it hit me. Oh, I remember I was listening to a guy do a live stream a couple years ago, and I remember him watching this video of this kid who was, I don't know, 12 years old, something like that. He was not. I don't know if there was necessarily what you would call a developmental problem. Yeah. But at the very least, he was an odd kid. Yeah. And way too trusting of just random people on the internet. So the guy was playing a game or something. I don't know exactly how it happened, but these guys on Twitch pretended to be Twitch tech support. Yeah. And they were just talking to him and like, oh, we detect some kind of problem or something. You can watch this whole video on YouTube if you want to look it up. It's called like Twitch Raid Tech Support or something like that. This is one of those videos. It's so mean that it breaks your heart. But it's also so funny that sometimes you can't help but laugh. And it's also so hard to believe that anyone would actually do these things that it just boggles the mind. So these people are talking to this kid, and they're basically saying, we're going to help you fix your computer. And it's two people who are talking to him. So one's like, they take him through a whole series of things, and I'm not going to be able to remember everything they told him, but some of the highlights were they would just make up this thing. So they're like, oh, you've got some kind of electrolytic imbalance in your keyboard or something like that. The way to fix that is get some water, put some salt in it, mix it up, and just drizzle the salt water over your keyboard. Now, the kid is doing everything that he's told in this video.
Oh, man.
And this was his mom's computer, too. Oh, so Jesus. Exactly. And somehow they've got a camera on him, so they're watching him do everything. Yeah. So if you watch the video, you can watch the kid do everything that he's told. Yeah. So they tell him this thing with it, and they say something somehow they get him to like put butter on the keyboard. I don't know what that was supposed to fix, but they're like, take the butter, just slather it, get it down into the keys. He's got like a knife or whatever. He's like, he's putting butter all over the keys of his laptop or his computer or whatever. And then they're like, they tell him some stuff, and they're like, okay, what we're gonna need to do, can you? He's got his laptop, and he's like, okay, can you fit it into the microwave? And so you see, he's like, hold on, let me check. So he takes his laptop, he walks over to the microwave, and he opens it, and he tries. He's like, it won't fit. He's like, well, what about the oven? Do you know how to operate the oven?
Jesus.
Like, yeah, I guess. And they said, well, it's the same principle, so this will work. So they're like telling him to turn his oven on and stick his laptop in the oven.
Good Lord.
They also tell him to take the battery out of his laptop. Yeah. Wrap it into, this is how the video ends, I think. They tell him to take his battery out of his laptop, wrap it in tinfoil, or aluminum foil.
Christ.
I don't know why we call it tinfoil. Wrap it in aluminum foil, stick it in the microwave, and then just turn it on.
Holy
and basically, the instant that he hits the button, like, the boy looks at the microwave and he looks at the camera and he's like, it's on fire. And the quote, tech person is like, oh, yeah, that happens sometimes.
Jesus. God almighty.
Oh, my God.
That's
horrific.
It's
so mean.
This is horrible.
It's a horrible thing to do to this kid. It's so mean. Ugh. I don't remember either because I didn't make it to the very end of the video. These things are hard to watch. But I think, and I could be wrong, but I think at the end of the video, the kid's mom comes in and she's like, what the are you doing?
I thought delete System 32 was bad advice.
Remember back in the day when you play a game and somebody said, hit Alt F4. Or back when you were playing Counter-Strike, people would tell you like, oh, there's been a patch installed. Hit F10 to install the new patch, which just takes you out of the game. Thanks for listening to the show. Tell us your stories of terrible tech support, or don't. We don't care. But what we do want you to do is go to YouTube, Too Much Coffee Podcast, and subscribe to the show right now. If you don't, Santa Claus ain't going to bring you nothing for Christmas this year. You ain't getting nothing for Christmas. See you next time.
Too much coffee. Too much coffee. Too much coffee.